Okay, hey everybody, this is Lorenzo Tannic, one on YouTube. This is my channel. This is my response video to Qaadir's "Spanking Is It Right or Wrong?" Okay, I just want to first start out by saying, as a child, I was spanked, and to me, in my opinion, it did kind of get out of control because it started with my mother. My mother was a single mother. We lived in the projects of Chicago, and I was the oldest. It was me and my sister. She's 2 years apart from me. My mother would go to work. She was under a lot of stress. Okay, and again, we live in the projects. Now, it wasn't easy. I understand it wasn't easy, but I was 6. I had a lot of responsibilities because it was only the 3 of us. So then later on down the road, we did get spankings as it only being us two, and then by my mother being single, it did kind of come in as when it was needed because we were young kids, and I guess it was she felt it was whipping us into shape. But then as it went down the line, my mother went and she got involved with my 2 youngest brothers, my second twin brothers, their father. And she got involved with them when I was like 7. And we were still in the project. And he had never raised children. He never had any children of his own. And he didn't know how to handle us. So what she gave him the responsibility of him disciplining us was also whoopings too, and spankings too. So that started coming in, and I guess he felt it was more of a method of, it was the only thing he knew was how he can control us was by spankings. Now me, to this day, I'm still going through a lot of stuff from spankings that resulted in spankings. My thing was, their thing with me was I was more the bearer of their problems. Like, so what most of their problems came from was me. I guess I don't know because I was the oldest. I don't know. It was because I don't know what it was. But my thing was spankings. It wasn't just spanking. It was punishments too. My punishment would come in the form of you stay in your room for months at a time. Maybe for as long as I can remember, I stayed in my room for months at a time. Was like when I was 8, 9, and she was still with this man. The spankings were still happening, but at this time I wouldn't call them spankings. They were whippings. They were like close to beatings, but whippings. And I was getting whipped without anything, whatever you can name, stitching cords, belts, by him. He's a big man. I'm 8, 9, 10 years old, 11, 12 years old. He's a big man, 6'2", 300 and some semi-pounds. It was a big, and spanking, I'm just explaining this because this is where it comes in at. This is what the things you remember. No child 6, 7, 8 years old deserves to get disciplined at the rate it was going for me. So what I'm trying to get to is spankings do wound your child internally in ways you could never remember unless it was done to you as a child. But I'm thinking, like my mother said, she was whooped and spanked as a child, and she didn't like it. So why would you get older and have your own children and do the same thing to them? That's like, I'm not understanding. So then, do you expect me to discipline my children the same way you discipline me? That's not right. But spankings, I mean, they should come with a limit. Like me, it was like I said, it was anything. Like it was belts, it was stitching cords, it was things they made and created. I would go to school in my white cotton school shirt with just red dots all over my back, just red marks. I wouldn't know until other students pointed out, like, you got red stuff. They was talking about me like they thought I was dirty. But when I got home, by the time I got home, it was brown. You know how blood dries? The blood was brown. And it was just like a lot of things. It was a lot of reasons, for the things that would happen, or the reason I would get spankings or whippings. It was something I had done. It was something I didn't do right. But I was young, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I would get whippings like this. And then a point came where I had to go to the hospital one time. My hips were broke. And by this time, my stepfather was still, disciplining me at this point. And I mean, when you get to that point in your life where something serious happens to you, I mean, like, I couldn't say, oh, I know where this is coming from. My thing was, I told the people that it was a fall at school. But deep down in my heart, to this day, I still know where that injury came from. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to keep giving you my life story, but if you can control, it should never come to that point. It should never come to that point where it's just constantly back to back, just because every little thing. It's a limit to spanking. Like the hand. I mean, like a spanking on the hand. I mean, like, I know you children get older, but I say at the age where you should stop disciplining your child as far as spankings, 12 years old. 12 years old, it should stop. And then you should go to other punishments. It should be no physical contact with a child at 12. Now, I can see, like, if your child is just really out of control, but it's no reason for a severe punishment in ways that they come. Like like me, I'm so sheltered and so quiet and so just so inside, just sheltered because it took a lot out of me. Being spanked as a child took a lot out of me, and the punishment I endured as a child took a lot out of me. And I'm still working through some things, and I don't want any child to have to go through a lot of the things I went through. I'm still going through a lot of changes myself. So I mean, spanking should come at a limit. I mean, it's a limit into which you should discipline your child. Spankings to me aren't right, but it's got to be some grounds on which you let your child know who the boss is. But I'm not saying just it's other things. It's things we all know. It's things children like. It's things children. You know, when you take away from them, they want to work for it to get it back. But it's all on how you raise your child, and then it goes back to how you were raised. You only do what you know. So if you feel like beating, if you feel like spanking, if you feel like punishing your child is the right thing, it's from what you know. It's from what you've seen as in your childhood. So I mean, it's not like you just grow up and just come up with this constitution like, you know what, I'm just gonna beat the shit out of you. You know, it's not like that. But I mean, it's a limit. Like you gotta be careful with how you discipline your children because it mentally, physically, socially, environmentally, at most spiritually, it can bother a child if it's taken to an extreme. And like I said, I'm still working through a lot of my childhood spankings, childhood, punishments. But I mean, like I would be so timid and so afraid. Like I would see kids talk back to their parents, and I'd be like jumping, like because if I was to say that to my parents, oh, I mean, I wouldn't because I would already know. But if I was to say something like that to my parents, it would be like, oh hell, I think close to the end of my life. But I had a lot of bad experiences with spankings and punishment, and it's not right. I don't agree with it because of my past and history with it. But I mean, if it's used, I mean, it's certain circumstances in which your child should be spanked. Like I said, it comes to a certain age too where you just gotta stop spanking your children too, because it's like when you get old, as they get older, you feel like the spankings don't work. So some parents might migrate to bigger things or bigger ways to spank their child, but not knowing that it's not a spanking anymore. This is becoming abuse because their child is bigger. So now not only are you not just spanking your child, you're like really causing bodily harm to your child because he's bigger or he or she is bigger, but it's still at the same time as a child. Children learn from what they see. Children grow from what they grow up from, and I mean from what they're around as a child. They learn and they cope with that as they get older. I mean, it's deep. It's a lot. So subscribe, comment, and rate.